Hey there, this is Phil Vischer, the founder of Big Idea Productions. You're about to watch Where's God When I'm Scared, the very first VeggieTales video. We made this video 10 years ago, and it doesn't look quite as good as some of our new videos, but it's still special to us because of its great message that God is the biggest and He's watching out for you and me. I hope you enjoy the show. There are many different inspirations for voices. In this case, like for example, Mike Myers, his Dr. Evil, is a parody of his former boss, Lorne Michaels, who's the head of Saturday Night Live. Hi, kids, and welcome to VeggieTales. I'm Bob the Tomato.
And I'm Larry the Cucumber.
And we're here to answer your questions.
Yep.
I bet you're wondering why Larry has a shoe on his head.
Yeah, Bob. Why do I have a shoe on my head?
Well, I got a letter today from Latasha Robbins of Savannah, Georgia. Latasha wants to know what loving your neighbor really means.
And that's why I have a shoe on my head?
Yes. No. Kind of.
Help me out here, Bob.
You see, I'm about to tell Latasha the story of Flibberoloo, and in that story, you, Larry, have a shoe on your head.
Oh, it's all so clear now. Hurry up and tell the story. My head's starting to sweat.
Okay, here goes.
Ah, who are you?
I'm Bob. I'm a tomato, and I need your help.
Whoa, deja vu. What's he got on his space helmet?
Huh? What do you mean? Larry, how many times have I told you not to eat while you're wearing your helmet? Ahem. We need your help, Junior. Our starship, the USS Apple Pies, is in grave danger.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
In just 8 minutes, the ship and its crew will be smashed to bits by a giant meteor.
Good heavens. Well, can't you just move the ship out of the way?
We decided that Josh and the Big Wall, which is the story of Joshua and the Battle of Jericho, that would be a great story to have on stage. Great story, one of our most popular videos. The spectacle of the walls of Jericho falling down. Of course, the fun peas in the story, if you're familiar with it. The walls of Jericho falling down are a little bit more complicated on stage than they are in a video. You can do, all kinds of fun things in animation. So it was a challenge to bring that segment to life on stage. To have two separate walls that had, rocks that fell off of it, smoke, all kinds of really cool effects, pieces of the wall that fall backwards, styrofoam rocks. Who could we get to bring these characters to life? Michael Curry, probably one of the foremost costume designers in the U.S., did the opening and closing ceremonies for the 2002 Winter Games in Salt Lake, won a Tony for Lion King on Broadway.
Not only is he capable to do most anything out there, but I think that he has a real resonance with our vision, and there was little to no problems as far as communicating with him and him being able to get this and being able to project the Big Idea vision and the VeggieTales vision.
The scale of the characters themselves was a challenge.
They all have to be proportional to one another as they are in our videos. Bob has to be at least 5 feet tall because we have to put a person inside of him. Therefore, as we did the math, we realized that Goliath was going to be 14 feet tall, and that's a kind of a crazy thing.
Come on, Dave! Look at that!
The costumes are cutting edge. They're inflatables. The actor or actress actually climbs into the costume when it's deflated.
Yeah, we had some deflation issues. These characters carry around a couple of battery packs on them and an actual motor inside that keeps them inflated. And at the beginning of the show, we were having some problems with the characters staying inflated. So
just the first run through.
Yeah, just the first run through. But Larry would come around the wall and his head would be, sagging in and, bending over. And
then the next time he came back around the wall, his mouth was taped shut so the air would quit leaking out.
Right. So we went through a couple of run-throughs with a lot of characters with their mouths taped shut, and it would keep the air in. And, that was kind of funny.
The actor inside the costume can actually move the character's eyes back and forth and all around. The eyes themselves are rare earth magnets, and then the mouth is like a palette that basically goes up and down, and they're shaped as the character's mouth. Many of the costumes actually have cameras that are in the nose of the character. And then they have a screen inside the costume that they actually can see. Most of that's for looking forward. Our director, Michael Bernard, did a great job on working with the character choreography, and it is much more challenging than choreography with humans. And we have moving set pieces. We call them characters. In essence, they're moving set pieces because of their size. For example, Larry is 9 feet tall and 3 feet across. We have times on stage when there's 7 VeggieTale characters that are on stage together, and so how do those characters all move around together without, creating a vegetable soup? We introduced a live human character into the story. We felt that was necessary to have a live person, in this case a stage manager, be a part of the show itself. One of the deep, dark secrets of the live show is that we've occasionally had characters lose eyes. Sometimes we've had characters that have brushed against each other and they have brushed the other character's eyes off. And so it's great to have a live person on stage. She's become very cognizant of this. She's had to reach down and put the character's eyes back on. The VeggieTales Live is very different than other kids' shows in that it does have a message. It's not just about entertainment. Joshua is one of our most popular videos. It's a really important story element of the live show because it has such a great message. I guess for us, the live show is a great opportunity to provide a new experience for our fans in a whole new venue, and also for an opportunity for them to be able to enjoy this great experience together. So it's not just mom and dad with the kids watching it in front of a TV, but it's mom and dad and kids and thousands of other ones together in this great new experience.
That show actually had some of our first real inside jokes because they had to decorate, the stuff mart, kind of fill it all out. And so they put stuff in there, from other shows. And also when they got over to the little diner, there's a scene in the little diner, they put some hilarious stuff up on the walls. There was a poster they did, I think, from Larry Boy and the Fib from Outer Space, showing the Fib, I think, fighting Godzilla or something like that. And it's just on the wall behind them.
In designing the character for Madame Blueberry, as well as all the other characters that were involved in the story, we had to read the story and really develop her sense of humor, her emotion, who her character was. And we were stumped. We did about 100 drawings, 100 different character studies of what Madame would look like. And they all looked great. They all worked and they were all funny. And then I went on a picnic with my family and I saw this lady, she's in her 40s, and she was just talking about going to the store. She wanted to keep buying different things, and she didn't like this, didn't like that, and she was eating a chicken leg. And I just looked at her and the sun hit her just right. I said, that's Madame Blueberry. I started sketching. I asked her if she would pose for me in different positions, and she became Madame Blueberry for me, and that became more characterized as we went on.
Cheeseburger started out as a Larry song. I thought the original idea around that was, okay, well, what would happen if Larry got a crush on the girl at the drive-thru? So he's driving in his car in, and he sort of falls in love with the girl at the drive-thru. And it started off, "You are my drive-thru girl." So that was the little piece of of lyric that I had in the sort of the hook for the melody. And the more I developed it, the less it seemed like Larry would sing that. And so I thought, okay, well, what other character would work here? And I'd always liked Mr. Lunt. And so I thought, wow, that would be really funny if Mr. Lunt, sang that. But then having Mr. Lunt sing "My Drive-Thru Girl," it just was kind of creepy. and so I just changed it to Cheeseburger, and it just got even goofier, And so, and then we went into this big rock opera thing, with it, and it just, kept getting goofier and goofier. And I remember going out and getting, a Meatloaf album and an Air Supply album, and modeling. Kurt and I talked about it, and we talked about modeling the songs, after a Meatloaf song and an Air Supply song.
Good work, Master Larry. The data is fascinating.
Have you figured out how to stop it?
Well, not yet, but it's extraordinary. It's like no plant I've ever seen. It doesn't photosynthesize.
Why do we care if it takes pictures?
No, photosynthesize. Plants turn sunlight into energy. It's how they grow, except these weeds don't do that.
They don't need energy to grow?
Oh, no, they need lots of energy, but they don't get it from sunlight.
Well, where do they get it?
I can't figure it out. They're feeding off something, but I don't know what. Look, I fed the data about the weed into the Letty satellite in geosynchronous orbit over Bumbleberg. Now, wherever a new weed grows, we can see it here. See?
Bumbleberg has the measles!
No, those are the weeds.
What? They're everywhere!
Yes, and at the rate they're growing, if we can't find a way to stop them,
Bumbleberg will be really weedy! Come on, Alfred. What'd you give me?
How's your ear?
Huh? How'd you know about that? That's right. You're connected. Ah! Oh, Alfred, I knew you wouldn't let me down.
So, did you hear the one about Alfred?
Hasta la vista, Weedy! Wrong button.
My favorite part in the show is when Millward, played by Larry, plays the harmonica, because I played the harmonica for him. When you hear that, it's me.
Hi, I'm Phil Vischer, the founder of Big Idea Productions. I started Big Idea back in 1993 in my spare bedroom because I wanted to tell you stories. Stories that could make you laugh, stories that could make you cry, but most importantly, stories that could entertain you and your kids while gently teaching biblical values and lessons. In other words, great entertainment that would be part of the solution, not part of the problem. As fun as it's been sharing these stories with you over the last 8 years, I've been looking forward to sharing something even bigger and better. Ever since I started Big Idea, really ever since I made my first film when I was 8 years old, I've wanted to make movies. Now, making our half-hour videos has been fun, but really, in a way, they were all just practice for what we're making next. Because there's something magical that happens when you're sitting in a packed theater and the lights go down and the curtain goes up and you know you're in for an hour and a half of a really great adventure on the big screen. And that's why I'm here, to invite you to join us for Big Idea's first feature film, based on one of the wildest, wackiest, and best-known stories from the Bible. It's the story of a guy who knew what God wanted him to do, but did the exact opposite, and ended up in one of the stickiest situations ever, the belly of a whale.
Oops.
Way back in 1995, one of the major studios came out to Chicago to visit us, to see if we were capable of making an animated feature film. Now at that time, there were only 10 of us, and we were working in the front offices of a screw manufacturing plant. They took a look around, the whole place smelled like machine oil, and decided, nope, we weren't ready. Well, over the last 6 years, we've been pouring ourselves into making bigger and bigger films. And we've grown our team from only 10 back in 1995 to more than 200 today. We've added people like Michael Spooner, Tim Hodge, and Tom Bancroft from Disney Feature Animation, who've worked on films like Mulan and The Lion King. And people like Dan Phillips and Amik and Tom Owens from DreamWorks Feature Animation, who've worked on films like The Road to El Dorado and The Prince of Egypt. We've added their experience to the rest of our team, who got their starts on VeggieTales or at other studios around the country. All of these people have joined us because they wanted to figure out how to use their gifts to make the world a better place. And now they're all contributing to the movie we're eager to show you in a setting like this, Jonah.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me.
As an art director, I can just say that it's the best thing that I've worked on.
It's very exciting to be able to be telling a story like this.
I am very grateful for this opportunity.
I really feel that a lot of family entertainment has lost morals and values.
When I first came here, the first few months, what I noticed was that there were more people who were interested in changing the world to be a better place than I'd met since I was 16 years old.
To be part of what Big Idea is doing, to be part of their agenda, to come alongside and support them in what they're trying to do has been real exciting.
It's something that I'm very proud to have worked on because it's more than just a laugh fest. You know, people are going to take a little bit of it home with them.
The storyteller in me wants to tell you about the whole movie, but we don't have 90 minutes, and my friends at Big Idea would put me in the belly of something if I gave everything away before the movie's released. but here's a peek.
We'll all find out a lot in the story of Jonah.
Yeah, like how it feels to be whale chow.
What? What did he say?
Oh, nothing.
So the story starts with Bob the Tomato and Dad Asparagus taking a bunch of the veggie kids to a Twippo concert.
I get to meet Twippo.
And they're driving through the woods, singing a Twippo song.
He slipped on a banana peel, flew up in the sky.
Dad's playing the guitar.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
The map is blowing in the way, and it's dark, and it's out in the woods.
And they end up getting their tires shot out by a porcupine, careening off the side of the road.
And the van ends up crashing down a hill down by the river.
Where they find a seafood restaurant, an old abandoned seafood restaurant. So they go over there to see if they can find a phone.
And the seafood restaurant is has a kind of a very mysterious Twilight Zone feel to it.
And that's where they find the pirates who don't do anything.
How's it going? Hey.
Swashbuckling gang of pirates.
It's really a cornucopia of vegetable casting.
All of our favorite veggies appear in the movie.
We pulled together the whole cast. It's a big story. It's sort of a, veggie tale of epic proportions.
It's a group of these characters that step into roles for every project we do. And in this one, they're in a biblical epic.
So the pirates decide to tell the veggies, Bob and Dad Asparagus and the kids, the story of Jonah. Now for our version of Jonah, we picked Archibald Asparagus. Money is no object.
He is our upper crusty English gentleman.
Thank you. You're too kind.
We thought he would be a great choice for Jonah just because he wants to keep everything going. He wants everything to be perfect. And of course, in the story of Jonah, everything goes horribly wrong.
You know I don't like those people.
Jonah is a famous prophet. He's known, throughout the region as, just a guy who brings a message from the Lord. And when Jonah talks, people listen.
Every night before he went to sleep, Jonah would pray and ask God if there was a new message for him to deliver.
So we established Jonah as, he's our hero. He's the guy God can count on.
So God has given Jonah an instruction to go to Nineveh and tell them basically to cut it out.
Oh, this is going to be great! The bad guys finally getting what they deserve!
Because the Ninevites, the people of Nineveh, number one, they're Israel's arch enemy. Number two, the Bible tells us that they didn't know right from wrong.
They lied. They stole. But worst of all, they slapped people with fishes.
Are these fish fresh? Jonah doesn't want to go. He hates the Ninevites. He doesn't think they deserve God's mercy.
But Nineveh should get no chance to turn.
He thinks he has a better idea.
Please don't send me there with a message of your mercy.
So instead of going to Nineveh, as you know in the story, he turns and heads the other way.
Damascus or Jerusalem, I'll be there in a minute. Any town in Israel, just ask me, I'll be in it.
He's going as far away from what God wants him to do as he possibly can.
So Jonah talks the pirates into taking him to Tarshish.
The funny part is, and this is where he gets into trouble, the ship he ends up on is the ship of the pirates who don't do anything, who of course, because they're the pirates who don't do anything, have never sailed before.
They sail off to Tarshish, and Jonah goes below deck to take a nap, and that's where he meets Khalil.
Technically, Khalil. It's Middle Eastern, it means friendly in Arabic.
He is what will make this movie very, very entertaining.
Khalil is the worm from the story of Jonah, from the biblical account.
Probably the only story in the Bible where a major plot point revolves around a worm.
Jonah and Khalil meet up, then Jonah really doesn't want to have anything to do with Khalil.
So I ran, and I ended up here!
He's running away from God. He's very nervous about that. He just wants to be left alone because things are sort of upside down in his world now.
To Jonah, he's a pest. I mean, just leave me alone. I'm miserable. I don't want to talk to anyone. And Khalil is the kind of guy that you have to love. And so eventually, Jonah allows him to kind of travel with him.
Oh, lovely.
And so off they go, of course, they run into the storm at sea.
Everything goes horribly wrong, and of course Jonah ends up over the side.
Jonah is swallowed by a whale.
And now everyone's in terrible danger, all because of me!
Khalil also, finds his way into the whale as well through a really fun sequence.
My favorite moment in the movie is when Jonah is in the belly of the whale. Our whole set design is based on the Hebrew word Sheol. He went to the belly of Sheol, the graveyard. So as you see in the background, there are ship masts that resemble tombstones and crosses like a graveyard. And it's the point in his life when he realizes he can't do it on his own anymore. He has to rely on a higher power.
And then Jonah is thrown up by the whale, ends up on the beach, goes to Nineveh, where he finally proclaims, that they need to stop it.
Stop being mean, stop lying, stop cheating, and especially stop slapping people with fishes.
My favorite part of the movie I'm not going to talk about because it's at the very end, and I don't want to give it away.
Well, I don't know if I want to give away the ending.
We can't give away the end of the movie now. Let me just say you'll have to see it to believe it.
You can be restored from your darkest circumstances. Our God is a God of second chances.
We've always had a lot of fun with the music in our videos. So in Jonah, our first movie, we're kicking everything up a notch.
And Jonah, we've got a message for you.
That's pretty good.
In our VeggieTales videos, we love to combine great storytelling, memorable characters, wacky music. We're just going to take that idea and expand on it. So we're going to have a lot of songs, just like people have come to expect with VeggieTales.
Some of the most memorable music you will ever hear. You're going to be dancing in your seats.
The music is going to be very good in a way that is going to be having people sort of whistling and tapping their feet as they're leaving the theaters.
Kurt does such a great job with the music. David Mullen has also joined us to help with some of the songs, writing and arranging. We have this showstopper tune, sort of a urban gospel choir tune, Second Chances.
It's a great tune. It's going to be a lot of fun. And the fun thing about that one is we've got Anointed joining us.
Singing for the first VeggieTale movie, it's an exhilarating, exciting, over-the-top experience.
It's actually a dream come true.
I'm so excited to be a part of this.
Praise the Lord, He's a God of second chances. You'll be born, how His love your life passes. You can be restored from your darkest circumstances. Our God is a God of second chances.
Through the whole story, the music helps to tell the story, and then engaging people into the story through the music, and we end big. So I think the music is great.
In every film we make at Big Idea, we promote a value or a lesson from the Bible. So when Mike and I talked about doing Jonah, at first we had to figure out what the real lesson of the story was.
I know it's about mercy and compassion, but first of all, it has to be about the love of God.
It talks about second chances and God's second chances, and that to me is a really important message.
The most important thing is the message that we put into it. You get pretty colors, you have wonderful sets, great costumes, but it's the story that really changes lives.
Compassion is when you want to help someone who needs help. Mercy is when you give someone a second chance, even though they don't deserve it. This story is about both of them.
But the true central message of Jonah is that God wants to give everyone a second chance. All they have to do is ask. Well, we've got a film to finish, so I need to get back to the studio. And when I get there, I'll join the almost 100 dedicated artists who are working on Jonah right now at Big Idea. So is the monumental task of making Jonah worth it? Well, when we finally get to sit down in a movie theater and watch it on the big screen with our families, knowing that you'll be doing the same, we'll know that we've created an amazing new way for parents to share biblical values with their kids. That's what Big Idea has always been committed to, on small screens in your living room, and now on the big screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the show.
I really hope you like this because I've really spent a long time on it, quite a few days, and as you can see, it may need a little bit more refining, but not much. It's pretty close there. I'll show you a side view. You like that? I thought you would. Oh no, man, it went 5 days of work. No, I'll get serious here. Here's hope. Now, obvious things right off the bat. No hands yet, no necklace, and no wings yet.
And I want to thank everybody that put on this great spectacular. It's a great job. I think you're really going to like it.
What else? Really, it's good. It's so exciting. We're crazy, I tell ya.
We're really glad you're here.
It's wonderful. Where's my thesaurus?
We'd love the parents and kids to see him.
Informed is the word he's searching for.
Princess Petunia.
Yep, she's a real great girl. Everybody who's seen her so far has
fallen for her. In fact, several people have asked her to marry her already. And you can just log in at bigidea.com and get the VeggieTales Veggiegram, which will keep you informed about the things coming up in the next year. And let me get that phone, excuse me.
And thank you all for putting on this wonderful event. I think it's going to turn out great.
Or maybe it won't.
So on with the show. We are glad you're here. And again, welcome. You're going to love it. And go buy some popcorn.
We'd love parents and kids to stay informed of the things that Big Idea has coming out in this next year. So you can log on to bigidea.com and sign up for the Veggiegram to stay informed of what we have coming up.
Yep, so thanks for coming and see you next time.
Hope you enjoyed the show. Oh, you pointed.
Do I look like an action hero? I feel like an action hero.
Heaven for me, ma 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 do ma 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 ma. Chicago style, ma 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 do ma ma. Then my heart skipped, boom, heard the door.
Well, it is certainly different animating vegetables because, as you know, they don't have arms or legs, so you end up having to think a lot more and act more with the eyes and the eyebrows and just sort of get that animation into the character.
So what would you like to do with your gift?
Where we set up each camera shot to mimic the boards that you provide. Then from there we take it and we pipe the animation in so we have a rough idea of what we're seeing. Then we finalize the animation process and then send it off to our lighting team, who then makes it look pretty and colorful.
Compositing is the last stage of production. Once all the lighting and stuff has happened, it goes to rendering, and then we as compositors put it all together. It's kind of like making a sandwich. You know, you start off with a piece of bread, then you put a piece of bologna on it, then a piece of cheese. And at the end, if you look from the top down, you have the sandwich. And it's kind of the same way with compositing. It's just a bunch of layers.
Every gift is given for a reason. We can't choose which ones we get, only what we do with them.
That's one brave flobbit.
Well, it was different from other VeggieTales we've done because it is the one story and it's not broken up into two, and even the silly song kind of overlaps the theme.
My precious! You mean the bean? It's my gift.
We ended up using a lot of 2D artwork, which is something you tend to shy away from in 3D.
We had a lot of plants, a lot of ground cover that had to be put in, and making it look integrated was pretty tricky.
It would give this sort of grandiose, epic feel with the set having 3 or 4 layers. Here we are looking at one of the trees from the episode. This is one of the shots where Randolph first sees the tree. Here you see him as you don't in the film. He's just a gray version of the tree. This is what we work with in a program called Maya. He has little controls here, one's for his arms, his head, his mouth, so you can do pretty much anything we want him to. What we do is just grab one of these controllers, let's say his arm, if I want him to say maybe wave at Randolph. So all I have to do is grab the controller and rotate it wherever I want it. So he's saying, "Hi Randolph, how are you?" And I can do the same with his elbow and his hand. It's very slow at this point, so the animators tend to kind of work in a slower pace than what you're seeing on TV. What we do often is do play blasts to see what our work looks like in real time, which is the speed of which you see it in the final version.
Welcome, Randolph, son of Mandolph.
The final version, which you're seeing on your TV, looks a little bit more like this.
Welcome, Randolph, son of Mandolph.
Now we're looking at a shot with the eagle. And the eagle was a little more challenging for us this time because normally what we have to do is build the vegetable characters, and they're a lot more simple in the way that they're organized. With them, it's just sort of grabbing one of three things: the head, waist, or bottom. Whereas with a character like the eagle, we have to put in a whole working skeleton to make him operate. So these would be his wings. There's where his head is, and his feet. So when we move, say, a wing, our skeleton follows behind. So it works much like a regular human skeleton would, in that it controls his furry, fleshy wings. The final version, which is this,
Get your own ride!
and there's our eagle, all animated and ready to go.
So as I mentioned, compositing is kind of like making a sandwich. So if we start off with the first layer, which is the background, we've got Bob. And if we put those together, we have Bob over the background. Now that doesn't look very good because he's kind of floating there. So we'll also add a shadow. And by adding a shadow, it makes everything really look like it belongs together. So after I've done all the color correction, adding shadows, Bob looks like he belongs on the countertop. So this is a little more complicated shot from the show. We still have the same layers. We have like a background. We have all the characters isolated individually so we can have control over them. But this one's a little more complicated because the integration, or getting everything to look like it belongs together, we wanted to make it look like a real film. If something's far away, I can make it blurry. The next thing we need to do is we need to add shadows for the characters. So now there's the shadows for the characters. There's all our characters put together. But there's one more thing I want to do to make this look like a real film shot. The character that's closest to the camera, I'm going to make him a little out of focus because if you were really shooting this with a real camera, it would appear to be a little bit blurry. So because I have him separate, I can make him just a little bit blurry, or I can make him really blurry, but that would be going too far. So I'll make him quite blurry now, put him together with the other ones, so then I'll adjust it so he looks like he belongs with the other ones. And then everything put together, you have the shot.
So my job as a sound designer is to come up with sounds that are going to match up against the picture and to try and incorporate the director's notes into the show. I've chosen one little section here, which is the door opening in the new Lord of the Beans. I'll just play it. So a lot of people would think, well, that's not very hard to do. You find a sound and you lay it in. But typically what we have to do is put in multiple elements to try and get across the sound that we want, because obviously this door doesn't exist in real life, and so we have to try and find elements from sounds that we have and sounds that we record that are going to sell the visuals. So one of those elements is this one here, which is just a bolt and door opening. We've got another element, which is a little lower. Going down the list, there's a large stone door to give it some weight. There's a wooden door for the creak. Another wooden door pitched down. And there's the elements here for when the door actually settles. So all of those sounds comprise up that one door element. So for the stranger sequence, when he first appears, this was a sequence that needed to be performed to picture. You couldn't exactly use just a regular sound and try and cut it in because the motion on the screen is so specific to the action. So this is an example of what we call Foley, where we take a prop, in this case it was an old umbrella, and we took off the nylon covering that was on top of it and just kind of taped it up. And from this we can generate all kinds of little noises to simulate both his unicycle and the umbrella itself. We also use this to record swishes.
When the rain may come and the sun may go, be won't been dry from me head to toe. I'm a lucky fella. I'm a lucky boy. Hoy!
There once was a boy who lived in a house, and the house sat under a tree. By the tree ran a fence that stretched far and wide.
Are you rolling still? Hi, how you doing? La da dee la ba doo beat.
Round the gated community.
Oh, the gated community is where we like to be. Everything's so lovely, oh, our hearts are filled with glee.
And when you come to visit, you can stand outside and see what a lovely bunch we are in our gated unity.
Hey! How'd this ball get in here?
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chuck Vollmer, Senior Concept Artist.
And I'm Joe Spadaford, the other concept artist at Big Idea.
This is the color script for Sheerluck, Holmes and Asparagus of La Mancha. I put this together to help the directors and the other visual development artists put the show together as far as color and mood, and it helps them as they light the different sets for the shows, props and environments.
Actually, a few months before we started production on this show, we were given just a really rough outline of a script, and this was one of the very first images we generated to try to convey the idea of these two competing restaurants for Asparagus of La Mancha. So we also wanted to set it in Spain. It's kind of one of those rare things where Mike saw an image right from the get-go and was like, that's it. The show pretty much got designed off of this really quick concept art that we did in really like a day. Okay, for the Cafe La Mancha, we actually wanted to have just, like I said, a very small kind of quaint place. Also had to have that Spanish kind of feeling to it, so we looked up a few Spanish buildings of the time period. You know, it almost has like an old mission kind of feel to it. The lattice work on the sides and the hanging plants. We also, gave it kind of this almost like adobe look. We wanted to create this show that looked like it took place in Spain, and I think the biggest challenge that I encountered was getting it to not look so much like it took place in like south of the border, Mexico, South America. So took a little bit of research, but I think we got it there. Now, the opposing restaurant was the Food Factory. We tried to style it not only bigger, but designed a little bit more fancy than the Cafe La Mancha. Like it was an updated, new and improved. And we actually researched just more like palaces that we found in Spain for the general architecture of like the pillars and the window treatments. And so we kind of incorporated those high-tech touches to, this old architecture and tried to integrate the two together to make what looked like a fast food, not fast food,
but a themed restaurant.
A themed restaurant,
lots
right.
Of neon and that kind of specialty dining experience.
Right, with great food.
This was an early visual development piece that we did at the very beginning when we received the outlines. As we were developing this, the landscape in his dreams became more and more distorted. Suddenly the cactuses turned into breadsticks, and eventually in the final show, the mesas and mountains and hills in the background became pottery and cooking utensils and pots and pans. And eventually, even instead of clouds, we had eggs in the sky, and anything to kind of go along with the theme of restaurants and cooking that would also have been in his, I guess, subconscious. This is one of the actual paintings that's used in the film, a flat painting that Don is in during his dreams. We just really wanted to go with that kind of surrealist look that you would see in like a Dolly painting, and just really make it weird, like a lot of times dreams can be, where they don't make any sense, but things that maybe you were doing the day before are somehow inserted into it. This is the model sheet of the actual Food Factory monster, I guess. The trick was, how do we make him move? Because he is supposed to chase Don and come after him. In designing him, decided to kind of give him almost gorilla-like movement where he has these tiny little feet and these giant arms, and he kind of puts the arms down and his little feet just kind of swing between them. It was a lot of fun designing this. In the dream sequence, Don is preparing to move forward. He sees silhouetted against the sun-setting sky these fearsome-looking figures. They look as though they could be giants. He realizes it's just a rock formation silhouetted against the sky, and it's just the peas on top causing all the problems. And again, more breadsticks in the background that just, with the right placement, take on the look of spears or weapons of some kind.
And speaking of Salvador Dali, this was our little homage to him during the show when Don's surrounded by all these images that are turning into different versions of himself as other vegetables. The last one we come to is this weird-looking guy with a long mustache. And to be honest with you, the mustache was about that long and about that pointy, so it wasn't much of an exaggeration.
This is a visual development of the interior of the kitchen where Don lives and works. We wanted the nice Spanish-style kitchen with the earthen stove. The fun thing about this set was that he sleeps there at night, so it's his kind of his living quarters. But then during the day, when he hops off the bed, it's kind of like a hide-a-bed. It flips up into the wall, and as it flips up, his potbelly stove flips up from underneath the bed, and this nice, warm, kind of quaint environment that he works in.
And the potbelly stove acts as a great bed warmer at night. Well, I originally designed this, and Chuck colored it. Basically, there's like 5 tables all around it, and we knew we wanted these chandeliers. It was one of those delicate balances of trying to not look too southwestern, but getting that real Spain kind of feel, and kept the lighting and the feeling of this place very warm and friendly. Okay, so like Lord of the Beans, we did a lot of flat paintings for this show. Now, flat paintings are ways we use old traditional methods of creating deep space by painting these nice landscapes that kind of, with the color keys, help the lighter set what the lighting situation is going to be for a show. And sometimes, you kind of go, oh, shucks, because you'll see the show and you don't see half these nice little things that you paint. Because we really, in the end, in CG, don't really know exactly what part of the painting they're going to be using. So we actually paint a lot more than you'll actually see. But, again, we looked at a lot of the landscapes in Spain. We just tried to incorporate those kind of hills and villages. And, again, we wanted to create this very quaint feeling, like this was a friendly place to live. This is one of those random props that I had thrown at me at the end of the show where they said, we need a football turkey or a touchdown turkey. And I was just like, what is a touchdown turkey? So, it was kind of a real challenge. How do you make a turkey look like a football? And the only thing I could think of was like, okay, well, I guess we can, there's white gravy that you can, that we could use. So, we just put some white gravy and some mashed potatoes. But actually that touchdown post there is the one from Junior and the Bully.
This is the ice cream parlor that Sheerluck Holmes likes to frequent. We wanted to kind of create a warmth to it so it feels very inviting, but yet the street, as you go further down, it has that kind of foggy London feeling at night. And, it's not supposed to be real scary or anything, but just kind of vintage Sherlock Holmes feel to it. And I think it came out pretty well. This is inside the ice cream parlor, and we wanted to create a serving bar that was kind of centrally located that actually had kind of a stage in the middle so that birthday parties or they can go up there and perform and the entire ice cream parlor can enjoy the show. Again, we wanted to create a really nice, warm, comfortable feeling in there, and that it would be a fun place to go and hang out and meet with a lot of your friends and things like that.
All right, well, here's the next little item. It was a prop. It was the golden ruler. We tried doing it one way, and it looked too much like a regular ruler, and it was kind of a difficult thing to kind of figure out. How do you make it look like a ruler, get a bunch of words on it, make it look like it was really expensive, and yet still make it look like a ruler? Now, I had some rulers in the past that had some rollers and stuff on the back, so I knew that a ruler didn't just have to be a straight square thing, so what we just tried to do is just embellish the bottom and make it have that kind of Victorian feeling. And then at the top, at almost every inch marker, we'd have a diamond.
I had some rulers like that.
Did you have some rulers
Yep.
like that?
Mm-hmm. Diamonds.
He had some diamond rulers, folks. Wow. Well, a lot like the La Mancha set, this particular location looked very, very, very similar in the original Blue Sky concept art, which is the first drawings we actually showed Mike, who is our director. We went right with the original concept art, and it made things go a lot faster.
The palace, we wanted to feel much more majestic and also to have it contrast with the exterior color palette of London. So whereas London outside is more of a green, blue, kind of a dark, we wanted the palace to really pop, and went with a lot of golds and ochres and, of course, real bright reds and purples. Of course, a real royal feeling to it.
Thanks again, guys and gals, for coming and taking a look at our artwork that developed this show. It's always a pleasure, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
This is Curly's body. This is what it looks like when we're done. And you gotta kind of mix these pretty precisely. They've got to be just the right amounts of each. I now just have a few minutes to pour this. But I believe it's set up long enough for us to take it out now. This mold material here is a silicone rubber, so it won't allow this resin material to stick to it. There you go. There it's coming right up. Hey. And there's Curly.
So now we've got our Curly in 3 pieces, and I'll glue them together. They're still not quite done because I wanted to have a color reference for the modelers. So here's another one in 8, all painted up. His hat comes off, and now the modelers can see him in 3 dimensions.
Hey, congratulations! You found the first Easter egg on the Mo and the Big Exit DVD. This is Brian Roberts, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about these 2 tablets full of the 10 Western Commandments. If you've watched the credits, which I hope you have, you'll see that these show up at the end of the credits kind of like a gag, but they don't stay up long enough for you to actually read them. So we thought we'd give you a chance to sit here and read them and tell you a little bit about how they came to be. Basically, we were talking about the credits, and we wanted to we needed something to put at the very end of the credits, and I thought, well, what's the next part of the story that we've just told? And it's like, well, of course, it's the 10 Commandments, but we couldn't just do the regular 10 Commandments, we had to do the Western version, so we sat around brainstorming how to turn the 10 biblical commandments into the 10 Western commandments. I think Mind Your Ma and Pa is my favorite. It was also the easiest to write. So there you go, the Western 10 Commandments.
Hi there, my name is John Wava, and I'm the director of God Made You Special. Well, during the show, I made some clips that I sent to the animators. And in those clips, I actually did some acting. And basically, I wanted to give the animators some guidance and direction for some specific performance. Anyway, the guys making this DVD found those shots somehow. And I hope you find them funny. Enjoy.
Dad would help me do it.
He teach me how to ride a bike, and how to play basketball, and football, and blah blah blah. That's the things God taught me how to do. Because God saw the future. Fan mail? Me? Alone? All of it?
All of it?
Yeah,
sure.
Clark Wayne, we started off with this idea of him being a Mark Twain-ish kind of character as a storyteller, and perhaps a bit of Foghorn Leghorn in his, kind of, well, I'll never. And we kind of went that way with some guys.
But then somebody at Big Idea, I think, suggested, well, what about George? You know, the narrator from The Toy That Saved Christmas and Rack Shack and Benny. What about that guy? Could he be the Clark Wayne? So I did a test. I said, well, let me try it. Let me try the narration as George. And I wasn't sure it worked, but I sent it down, and they went, that's it. We got it. We're bringing George back. All right, we'll bring George back. What do you know about that? He's been out of work for 10 years, living off Social Security, and now he's a star again. Needless to say, he couldn't be happier.
Hey, shouldn't we be coming up on
Muscatine? There it is! One of the things we try to do in VeggieTales is make things factually based. Realizing it may not mean anything to a kid when they first see it, but maybe years down the road they'll recollect and say, hey, that was true, and yeah, it was. One of those being like this, with Muscatine with Phil. That's Phil's hometown. St. Louis World's Fair was another one that Brian worked very hard to get actual, data that was legitimate fair, World's Fair at the time.
Originally, the climax of the show was set at a World's Fair in Memphis, Tennessee. So I kind of, in development, pushed the story forward about 20 years so that we could set it in St. Louis in 1904, where there actually was a World's Fair. So the Ferris wheel that you see in our story is actually kind of loosely based on this real Ferris wheel that really was in St. Louis in 1904.
I've got a song!
You're a lifesaver.
On the show here, you heard me use my whistle. If you listen to the silly song again, I use some of my sound effects in the silly song. There's some rhythms. I use that one. You heard the slide whistle already. You want to go to sleep again, Brian? Okay. There we go. I started the show, had half the songs written and recorded, then completely left it and wrote the score for Pirates, went to Prague, recorded an orchestra, then came back to this, pulled it back out of the file, opened it back up, and then finished it up. So some of it was written well over a year ago, and then some of it I was working on literally the night before we mixed it. A lot of the music, a lot of the score, the background music, relies on bluegrass styles of music, folk music, Americana music. But then as we get down closer to St. Louis, we really start to bring in the Dixieland sound. All of those styles of music, they're very rooted in our country. It's historical music that was not brought over from Europe or some other countries. I think it's fun sometimes that a child might, hear some of this music and over the years maybe come back and later on discover Dixieland music for what it is and say, oh, well, that sounds familiar. It sounds like that VeggieTales show I saw.
Kurt always starts in the computer with synthesized stuff. And in this case, he had actually played out all the banjo stuff for the score, and then brought in our banjo player for just the songs, and just to play the banjo on the songs, and it would mix fine. Well, when we laid it all in, it made the synth stuff sound so bad, it was just too clean. You could really tell the real one that had that, you could really hear that picking and the steel. And so when we played it up against the synth, it was like, okay, we gotta call Mike back in.
When Dooley and the bad guy enters the scene, we didn't want to make it too scary or too ominous, so we did some things like using old-timey, like out-of-tune tack pianos, like you'd hear in a Western. It's sort of that old movie, like, oh, here's the bad guy, instead of real scary, here's the bad guy.
I figure we're coming up on... Oh, hold on.
Water everywhere.
Doing a show about the mighty Mississippi is a producer's nightmare.
Ooh, river. That sounds expensive.
I hear it was difficult to create all the water.
Whenever you say I want to do water in computer animation, a lot of effort gets put into making that water very realistic, in making sure that there's lots of detail in how the current flows and how the water ripples behind a boat. I pushed to make the water really simple and very cartoony. That actually feels different than you might expect, but in the end is really beautiful. Well, the Biscuit of Zazzamarandabo sprung forth from the wildly creative minds of our good friends Andrew Peterson and Randall Goodgame. They're the guys who wrote Monkey, which was the silly song from the last show that I directed, Wizard of Oz. And these guys are just the craziest folks. They throw stuff up against the wall, and about 90% of it falls off the wall, but 10% of it sticks to the wall, and it's really funny and really good.
I knew that Randall and I were supposed to be coming up with another silly song.
So here are the lyrics that we have
Right.
that I wrote, that I came up with.
This morning I had made buttermilk biscuits and sausage gravy, and I was thinking about what a glorious thing it is that we live in a world with sausage gravy and biscuits, that particular combination of foods. And I thought, well, maybe the new silly song can be about that.
When Andrew came to me and said that he had a song idea about a biscuit, I told him that I had a biscuit when I was growing up named Zazzamarandabo.
He said something about how he had a biscuit named Zazzamarandabo, but that's completely not true. He's just trying to ride my coattails.
So the biscuit of Zazzamarandabo, the word that I came up with.
You're kind of getting into my space.
I'm sorry.
I'm on family vacations when, Dad wants to go see, the giant thumbprint on the wall of the cave, and everybody else is kind of like, Dad, we just want to go on the roller coaster. But Dad says, oh, it'll be great fun.
Sir James McNabb of the Guild of Go. He made the biscuit so long ago, and the people, they traveled to see it glow on the mountain of Zazzamarandabo.
When you're going on a road trip, whoever's driving has a million things to do before they leave. Yeah, we just tried to think of all the annoying things that grown-ups have to do before they leave, which, when I was a kid, was always stopping by the bank.
What did you say? We can't leave yet today. You just got an errand to run.
And going by the post office, and then filling up the car with gas. And to a child, that's maddening.
For the explorer that finds the biscuit of Zazzamarandabo, I wanted his name to be Archambault, but Andrew really wanted it to be Archambault and drop the R.
One of my great uncles was named Archambault, and I wanted to include him just to kind of pay homage to my ancestors and include him in the song. But Randall thinks that the correct name was Archambault, which is about the silliest thing I've ever heard.
There was just no way that I could get Andrew to budge on the matter. He just really thought it sounded better, Archambault.
My great uncle Archambault.
And so, after quite a bit of fighting and wrestling, we finally decided that I would kind of be the servant and let Archambault be the name in the song. And so Randall felt good about that, but then I changed it that night, and then the next day when we went and played it for the people at Big Idea, I changed it back to Archambault, and they all loved it. And so, which to me proves my point that that is the correct name.
I guess they're all riding in a car together. So.
Van, yeah.
Well, car. I mean,
maybe like a minivan, or an SUV. It could be an SUV,
like a hatchback,
right? Like a Scion.
Not a Scion, like a Subaru,
like an Element,
like a Subaru,
kind of like an Outback. And
or a minivan. I like minivan better than all those ideas.
I just, you gotta give and take in the songwriting thing. You gotta be willing to put everything out there and then just pull it back and let, give and take. It's a great relationship.
He took all my good ideas. Like always. He always takes my ideas.